Dawson Rider with you.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Lupinranger vs. Patranger episode 8. This was another good episode. They are really doing a good job of continuing the great pacing and tone of the series. I'm also really happy with the way this one turned out. I mentioned last week how I was going to be kind of disappointed if the Lupinrangers were outed already this week, and it kind of looked like from the preview that they would be. It's kind of hard to tell with Sentai previews. Sometimes they're on the nose, somehow are like those trailers that show you everything but in 30 seconds, and then other times it'll completely mislead you. I think if I remember right, Kyoryuger was famous for that. It'd be like, oh look, a dumb filler episode, and then it'll be really important. Also, I keep wanting to say Kyuranger when I go to say Kyoryuger. It's like meshing together. Anyway, that's not important. But anyway, they didn't find out. The Lupinrangers totally pulled one over on them. Speaking of, just to get this out of the way right off the bat, because I keep forgetting every week, this week's winner is Team Lupin. I mean, obviously, they totally pulled it over on the Patrangers. Again, proving my thing of they're kind of better than the Patrangers at doing stuff. I mean, I say this each week and I get people defending them as if I'm saying the Patrangers are losers and just stand in the corner with a dunce cap, that corner over there. No, I like the Patrangers. It's just the Lupinrangers seem to be a bit smarter. And I know that there's cases where the Lupinrangers got intel first, but last week, Yellow came up with a plan based off of her figuring everything out by seeing that magazine. That had nothing to do with getting intel. I mean, she was just smart about it. She discovered a pattern before they did. And this week, the Patrangers, they kind of smartly figured out that they were the Lupinrangers, but the way they tried to prove it was kind of a big fail. The premise was as basic as they come. Basically, go into the restaurant and fake a gangler attack and hope that they catch the Lupinrangers following out of the restaurant. And it was kind of funny when you think about it, because as they were planning this, the Lupinrangers were discussing how the Patrangers were onto them because they got info from Good Striker. And it was just funny to see the Patrangers be like, oh no, Gangler is attacking. To be fair, their acting wasn't that bad. But they were making a big show, and the Lupinrangers just really? It was funny. And so, they out-tricked them. They basically had Lupin Red use the duplication, either way, doppelganger. If I have to hear the word doppelganger one more time, I gotta learn how to spell it. But anyway, the doppelganger technique, and had the dummies dress up as blue and yellow. I kind of assumed that was what was happening, but I honestly thought they somehow figured a way to do the technique by actually having all three of them, but they just straight up put on costumes. There's a bit of suspension of disbelief given that the proportions of their bodies and stuff, especially with Yellow. And then you had Kyle, the butler, pretending to be Lupin Red, because when the Patrangers go in, they're like, oh yeah, what's his name? I forgot the dude's name. It's Kari from Digimon. Is upstairs, Kairi, whatever, Lupin Red. He's upstairs napping or whatever, and they're like, I don't believe you, and it was the butler guy. But they basically blew it. I mean, the Lupinrangers got one over on them, but they were tipped off by the fact earlier in the episode when Kenjiro was spying on them, big billowy trench coat, 5 steps behind Lupin Red, peeking out of the corner, and then the minute that they, got confirmation, oh, the Lupinrangers are there, but they're still in the restaurant, they go in, boom, demanding answers. And a terrible cover story. I mean, to be fair, it definitely would have been, they would have known what they were doing, but they could have at least tried to make a better cover story. They walk in I thought you were going to fight the Gangler, and she's like, duh, where's Kari? And her Digimon, Gatomon. So that was just dumb. Again, I'm not saying I hate the Patrangers, but they really were kind of dumb in this one, and their investigative skills were pretty amateur. Come on, guys, it's amateur hour here. But yeah, they pulled one over on them. There was some really funny bits with Jim pretending to be Gangler, and it's always awkward the way he folds up his arms, and his default is not having arms. It looks weird, but him pretending to be a Gangler was honestly pretty funny. I thought that Keijiro was going to catch on that something was a little bit fishy when he potentially ran into, what kind of accent even is that? Potentially ran into Lupin Red in the little facility that was underground. I thought he was just gonna see him fighting by himself, either on the ground or in the mecha for a split second, and think that's weird, maybe not a smoking gun, but kind of plant a seed that maybe they didn't fully get away with it, but that didn't wind up happening. He didn't really run into him underground, and then split seconds after he saw Lupin Red fighting in the mecha, Yellow and Blue showed up. So they pretty much completely got away with it. there was a kind of little introduction between Lupin Red and Evil Chick, the girl enemy of the Ganglers. I don't remember her name. I'll probably never remember it. To be honest, I'm still in the early stages of learning the Rangers' names. I'll learn those, but the villain names, I'm just giving nicknames. So she's now Jeffrey. No, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so at the end, Lupin Red tipped the butler off about her, and he gave some pretty obvious knowing looks. Like, I know everyone's suspicious of him, and he's definitely had those little hints at being suspicious, but this episode, it was like, how did they miss those looks? Like, binoculars, you know anything about it? No, of course I don't. Like, he practically did that. So, he was given some sly looks, so he clearly knows a bit more about what's going on than they tipped him off about. But yeah, it was a good episode. I liked it. Wow, that's a throwback. I thought that, you know, it was very entertaining. I liked the way they pulled it off. Again, I'm glad they don't know yet. I'm usually not one to want them to drag things out, or, like, I'll often praise things for the plot progressing quickly, but this is a case where I think if they knew now, it would waste a little bit of potential. I don't think I want to see it go on for almost the whole series. I'd like to see it definitely be outed before midway, but I just think that there is potential interesting and comedic value for this premise to let it go this early, so I'm glad that they didn't know this week. But overall, strong outing. I'd give this episode an 8.5. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Awesome Rider, signing out.